Who would have ever thought that a mockumentary about life in an office could be so hilarious? Well, as it turns out, it was even funnier behind the scenes where all the unexpected hilarity and bloopers took place.
That's what she said.
Hi, I'm Clive. Let's go back to Dunder Mifflin. Yeah, we've all been there. We've all worked with that one office worker who's the biggest butt kisser and will throw absolutely anyone under the bus if there's even the slightest chance of getting on the boss's good side.
I'm coming, Michael. I'm gonna save you. Michael is in trouble.
I do not want
Okay, hold on, Michael. I am coming. Wait there.
Dwight!
While Dwight might have been the king of sycophants on the show, Rainn Wilson is actually such a treat on set. He had fantastic chemistry with his co-stars, and they shared some unintentionally funny moments as well.
Jim.
In the season 5 episode, Prince Family Paper, Dwight and Michael are meant to create a signal to silently communicate with each other. But yeah, let's just say they broke character, and the moment ended up funnier than the actual scene itself.
Oh no! Oh dude, I'm so sorry.
Undoubtedly, Rainn's turn as Dwight brought him the biggest success in his life, even allowing him the opportunity to play a version of the character on Saturday Night Live, where he hilariously described the experience of working in showbiz in the office.
I remember dreaming about being in show business, and now I'm lucky enough to be an actor and to get the thrill and the glamour of going to work every day at an office.
But Dwight's best and funniest moments always happen with his co-worker Jim, as they made it their mission to prank each other. I mean, who could ever forget that time when Jim dressed like Dwight and impersonated him in the office? And it wasn't just the scripted pranks that they pulled on each other.
I tried to do some research once.
And speaking of Jim, like the human embodiment of a Labrador, Jim was the most loved member of The Office. Back in the real world, John Krasinski is just as charismatic and popular as the character he played on the show. Whether he's hosting his Some Good News show or hanging out with his family, he just oozes cool and confidence. But he's also quite the prankster, just like Jim.
I mean, I'm feeling that it's very full, so I don't think she's been releasing it all. Actually.
You're definitely feeling that.
Considering how Jim's main arc was his love story with Pam, the two of them shared numerous moments together on screen. Arguably, one of the funniest behind-the-scenes clips involves the time when Pam gave birth to their first child. In classic Jim fashion, John couldn't help but make a joke about the baby, which was played by a doll here.
Yep, still breathing.
Jim, I said not till she's older.
Okay.
You should actually play a game with your friends and see if you can count the times when Jim's co-stars almost crack with him on set. They're pretty good actors and do their best to hide the smirks, but you can tell in their eyes that they're about to burst at any given second. Go ahead, try it. It's a fun game. Of course, everyone remembers Jim for the iconic stares he gave the camera throughout the show's run. But did he come up with it on his own or not? We'll let you decide that one.
Do you actually make the trademark expression that Jim gives the camera in real life, or did you make it up for the show?
Annie, good question.
Ah, no wonder Pam fell in love with that face. And you know, she was also quite the comedian on the show, even if she was more subtle and under the radar than the rest of her coworkers.
My costume's getting a lot of attention.
Even so, Jenna Fischer is still remembered fondly by fans of the show, even the younger generation, although not maybe in the way you might think, as she revealed to Conan O'Brien.
And they'll say, you know what? Excuse me, I'm so sorry, but does anyone ever tell you you look like an older version of that girl from The Office?
Kids these days, am I right? One of the best bloopers involving Pam, though, is the time she caught co-star BJ Novak off guard when she leaned her head on him like she used to do to Jim in office meetings. Just take a look at his reaction, because he never saw it coming.
Yeah, what the hell?
As it turns out, laughter was a regular issue for Jenna, as she used to get constant fits of the giggles on set. She even revealed the following to Vulture. Angela and I had a problem. Every time we had a scene together, we wouldn't be able to stop laughing. It's interesting that she mentions Angela here because she always seemed like the most serious person on the show. Well, looks can be deceiving.
And I'm on my lunch in my trailer. Don't you love my brown velour couch? Woo.
Angela Kinsey has mastered the art of deadpan humor. She knows how to be funny without having to exaggerate her actions or overdo it. However, she admitted to Larry King that the hardest comical scene to film was the one episode where she had to throw her cat up onto the roof.
As this is happening, I grab the cat and I have to swing back with it and swing up, which was already it's like.
Apparently, a fake cat was supposed to fall down, but both cats, the real and fake ones, ended up coming down at the same time. Meow! Thankfully, no one was hurt or clawed during this stunt. That corner section of the office is where a lot of classic scenes develop between Angela and her fellow accountants, Oscar and Kevin. They were three totally different personalities, but they allowed for some awkward and side-splitting moments. You know, the kind where you wheeze so much that you can't stop. And Angela actually knows her co-stars' characters a lot better than they do. Don't believe us? Just check this out.
What did Kevin make?
Chili!
Of course, I know.
And apparently it was real chili too. Angela says she knows this because Brian smelled like it all evening, which he obviously denies. But Brian's character Kevin was always the big joker in the office. Who could ever forget his infectious laughter and how he'd struggle to compose himself?
Her life is a complete sham.
He also found himself in the toughest situations, which he often struggled to get out of. There's no better example than this scene gone wrong from season 8 that he shared with Dwight.
Kevin, you're making this really difficult.
Me. You can't bend me that way.
Hey, they could have easily just labeled this the yoga episode and said Kevin was stretching, but I'm not so sure how they could have explained this one away.
Don't you even keep that in there. Oh my God.
There was always a running gag on the show that Kevin didn't always understand the meaning of words and would use them in the wrong context. In a serious case of fact being more humorous than fiction, he got really tongue-tied this one time.
See, unlike me, some people don't really pick up on subtle social cues.
You kind of wonder how many of these actually ended up in the final cut of episodes. Brian still laughs at the fact that he managed to play a remarkably unremarkable guy, and he can still make a career out of it.
And I think you're perfect for it.
Exactly. My agent is like, no, unremarkable. I've got the guy for you.
One character that you can never accuse of being unremarkable, even though he just wanted to lay low and cruise his way to retirement, was Stanley. Embodying how every single one of us feels after being at a company for too long, Stanley is literally our spirit animal.
I have some good news.
We get to go home.
Honestly, Stanley is just a mood. Sometimes all he needed to do was give us one look, and it said everything that needed to be said about his state of mind. The best part is that Leslie David Baker comes across as a person who will break out in laughter at the most inopportune moments, like Stanley often did too.
Stanley Howard? Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration.
Rainn Howard.
Not Vance, Vance Refrigeration.
This is my dad.
I mean, all Bob did was introduce himself, but he couldn't hold it in, like at all. Someone who always seemed like they were talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour was Kelly. Whether she was complaining about her boyfriend of the week or some inane celebrity news, you needed to pay close attention or you'd miss out on the details. Well, there's a great blooper where Kelly gets into her flow and tells some news to the returning Jim, but he actually paid attention to what she said.
Yeah, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes, they had a baby and they named it Shiloh, and Brad Pitt and Angelina, they had a baby too and they named it Surrey.
I think you have those mixed up.
The look on her face is priceless. Kelly's comedy shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, considering Mindy Kaling's comedic roots and the fact that she's a terrific writer. She's a total powerhouse in Hollywood, but it's good to see that she doesn't take herself way too seriously either.
They said speeding.
They said speeding.
He is set.
Pizza.
And if we're talking about never taking themselves seriously at all, you can't look further than Michael Scott.
Hey, Jim, come here. No, what? Chuckle, let's together, okay, man?
In fact, as a boss, you kinda would have expected him to behave himself a little more, but where would the fun be in that? The thing is, Michael Scott's sense of humor isn't as much a departure as Steve Carell's. If you do something that he finds funny on set, he's going to laugh, and he just can't help it. He and Andy had their moments of conflict, but they also had some of the greatest unexpected gags, like this one.
How long is this gonna take? I'm like a quarter of the way through.
Face.
And that's the thing. Even when Steve fluffed his own lines, he laughed so hard that everyone else would join in because it was unavoidable.
I wanna give you a nappy head because you're Leslie. Well, that's not your character's name.
Though we can't forget Michael's most remembered and most quoted line from the show. Steve even used it as part of his acceptance speech for an award.
I cannot believe it. This is much bigger than I thought it would be.
Now, repeat after me. That's what she said. Whew, after all this laughter, I need to catch my breath for a second. So tell us, which are your favorite funny moments or bloopers from The Office? If you enjoyed this video, check out our behind the scenes video of the show. Thanks for watching.